It's been 2 years since Citadel Forged with Fire launched its beta. So, old players and potential new players want to know, is it worth purchasing in 2019? In short, I say yes, and in this video, I'm gonna tell you why. Citadel Forged with Fire is an open-world survival quasi-RPG where you play as a wizard. It's got crafting, gathering, enemies, dragons, tames, massive servers with 50 people where they can build and fight and team up with their friends. It's a really ambitious title. The first aspect I'd like to talk about is the knowledge tree and crafting. The knowledge tree just has all the different things you would need in this game, like potions, structures, weapons, armor, and then you can craft all of these armors either in your inventory or for certain items in different crafting stations that you would build in your house. That's going to tie into kind of the spell crafting. So in this game, you craft your spells. You have a basic spell tree called Arcane. It's 4 basic spells. And throughout the world, you can find these different elemental essences that you can add to your spells to give unique and different abilities. There's different weapon types that have different types of spells, but each one has a self ability and utility, and then there's different types of range spells like AoE, blasts, and projectiles, and beam attacks. And we can even go deeper from there to add regents to our spells that give them different attributes. It really gives you a unique quality. Now, the spells look and feel really awesome. There's a little bit of polish that needs to be done, but I think the developers will probably work on that, but you really do feel powerful in this game. You're probably thinking, he didn't mention gathering. Well, I am now, because gathering is part of magic. You use magic to gather items, and it kind of takes the edge off of the grind, and just kudos to the developer for being able to use a spell to gather items. We briefly said something about taming. I haven't come across an NPC or a mob in the game I couldn't tame. And to tame in this game, all you do is you weaken the mob, and then you use a spell to pacify it, and then it allows you to tame it. And to maintain the tame, you just keep feeding it food, and it remains loyal to you. It's one of the better taming mechanics I've seen, and it's fun, and it doesn't take hours and hours and hours to tame. Granted, there are high-level creatures or specific special creatures that take longer than others to tame. In addition, with the tames, you do have the ability to give them different commands like stay, passive, aggressive, follow, and things like that. They have an inventory where you can place items within them, and they're just a really cool aspect to the game. Of course, we need to talk about building. Building is a huge part of this game. It's one of the better games that I've played when it comes to building. It's not the best, but I feel like with a few patches they can really get it down. Now, I do play with a gamepad. I imagine it's better if you're playing with a mouse and keyboard, so just something to keep in mind there. One of the great things about building is that you have so many options where you can build a small hut or a big, beautiful castle, and this castle's on official PvP. Someone actually grinded this out, and it's gorgeous, and you can do that in this game. And it runs really well, surprisingly. Next, we're going to talk about the caves, the dungeons, the enemy camps. So in the open world, of course, you just have roaming mobs of a different assortment. Then there's caves. In the caves, there's exclusive loot, different loot chests, different resources you can gather, high-level enemies, and sometimes some very exclusive enemies as well. The caves are really neat. Some caves are simple and others are a little more complex. In regards to the dungeons, there's several proper RPG-style dungeons in this game as well. And you can run the gambit of how you want to play. You can play as a support or as a tank or as a healer. You can play how you want. And this shows you some of the open world camps. There's these camps throughout the whole world, and they have treasure chests and mobs that you can farm for different resources. And honestly, the PvE in this game is a lot of fun, and there's a lot of variety to it, and I think that's what makes it so much fun. With this, you can take your tames out to battle with you, or you can go with your friends and party up and get shared XP. You guys can be in a guild together and build big castles together. And in my opinion, it's just one of those really unique, fun sandbox experiences. One thing we haven't talked about is PvP. PvP is a huge aspect to this game because, like with any game, PvE without new content gets old. PvP keeps the edge. You have to do builds to defend your bases with these turrets and shields and traps and different things. And then there's tame to tame combat, where you have to fight in the air, where you're fighting flamethrower to flamethrower on different mounts. And it's just really intense in that regard. The ground combat in this game I like personally because it's not a Call of Duty type of ground combat where you shoot and whoever has the best ping is the one who wins. In this game, if you get in a ground battle, you're committed to the battle. It is a battle of the wits. There's no one-shotting unless there's this huge level discrepancy, and you've got to kind of combine your spells in a way to outwit your opponent. You can use crowd control type of spells, damage over time, etc. And the best part is you can try to escape. There's always a chance to escape from your enemy. It doesn't always pan out well, but hey, it's a different way to play the game. Guys, it's 2019. You've got to try this game out. I'm loving it. Thank you so much for watching the video.